John is a drug dealer. John hasn't sold any drugs recently. John moves to another city. When he's in that city, he considered giving up drug dealing and to get a job. But then John noticed that children were not treated that well by their parents in that other town. I mean, parents often screamed at the children, publicly humiliated children, and physically abused children, sometimes even publicly, and nobody intervened. And even the police turned a blind eye to it. So John realized, 10 years from now, when those children are in their teenage years or entering the early 20s, they'll have a lot of psychological problems. And people with psychological problems often they are in denial. The denial is part of the psychological damage they have. And such people often want to escape the pain, the trauma, and all of that. So John called some of his buddies and told them, yo, bros, I'm living in this town right now, man. Oh boy, those children done dirty by their parents, y'all. You guys know what this means? And he told them, John, what does that do with us? We can't do anything about that. And he told them, listen, 10 years from now, or maybe 15 years from now, I mean, just within a decade, likely, all these children, or at least the majority of them, will be damaged adults, or damaged people in the late teens were damaged. So it's a big opportunity for us to open nightclubs. If we open nightclubs right now in this town, we're guaranteed to have customers within a decade. We're guaranteed to sell our drugs. We're guaranteed to recruit women for prostitution, for our red light districts. We can become millionaires over here. So John and his buddies discussed it, and the next year, they registered a few businesses, they opened several nightclubs, and as expected, for the first 2 to 3 years, they didn't make that much money. They even went in debt with the bank. But in the 5th year, as predicted, a lot of people began to attend the nightclub. There were even a lot of underage people coming with fake IDs. But they kept it quiet, and the security guards were also in on it. And 10 years into them opening their own nightclubs, they were millionaires, earning good money. And they became local crime lords, like a local mafia. Now, this is a parable, as you know. In this parable, there was a bad situation, namely children being abused all over town. Thousands of children, maybe even 10,000 of children being abused, because there was a culture that parents were allowed to get away abusing their children. So this John, or this guy, this drug dealer that moved there, realized, hey, I can get a job now and have to work all the time, be exhausted, only have two weeks or 3 weeks a year free to myself to go on a vacation, or me and my buddies can struggle for a year or 2 or 3, and afterwards we earn good money over here. And guess what? What they did was wrong. I don't condone it. I don't support it. I advocate against it. They took advantage of the psychological wounds of those people, because they knew those children will not be children forever. They'll turn into adults, and because they're damaged as children, they'll be damaged adults. And damaged adults escape and offer them an outlet to escape, and guess what? You can make money off of it. So now, these criminals saw the situation and they looked ahead. And they were ahead of the situation. And because of that, they took advantage of the opportunity. Who gave them the opportunity to become crime lords and become a local mafia? The community did by abusing their own youth. So, yes, those drug dealers, those criminals are wrong, absolutely. Just know that if they never had the opportunity to do this, it would have never happened. So those that offered the opportunity by their own neglect are just as responsible and accountable for the damages that later happen. But people don't want to talk about this. So, guess what? The new local mafia, once they become powerful, now the public wants more police officers on the streets to fight them. And now you have a cycle of violence with crime in the community. But the thing is, all of this could have been prevented if people intervened and said, hey, we should stop abusing our children. We should stop beating children and start learning better ways to deal with conflict in families. But hey, people are saying, oh, it's none of your business. You don't pay the rent. It's not your child. It's not your authority. Mind your own business. And because people had this mind your own business attitude, this privacy attitude, nobody intervened. Children turned into damaged adults, and now you have damaged adults being exploited. And you have a cycle of violence haunting the community. Now, in this example, the criminals were ahead of their time. Okay, I have a question for you. Let's say it's summer, but summer is ending. So you have this in-between season called autumn. Let's say it's autumn. You know that in autumn it tends to rain more often. What do you do when the summer's nearing its end? You buy umbrellas. So that when you wake up one day and the sky is gray and you know rain's about to fall, hey, when you walk outside, you bring your umbrella, and hey, when the rain begins, you put on your umbrella, hey, you don't get wet, you're ahead of it. Or let's say you're in autumn now and it's getting cold, you know winter's coming. So you buy your thick coat, your boots, your hand gloves. You buy all of those things so that if you wake up one morning and you see it's white everywhere because it snowed last night, hey, you are ahead of it. You're warm while walking outside. Let's say you have a river, and each year the river overflows and floods the whole area. All the towns and villages are underwater. And so there's damage each year. Tens of millions of dollars in damage each year. So instead of paying tens of millions of dollars each year to repair damage every year, let's spend maybe $50 million or how much money you need to build a dam. Now that you built a dam, you can regulate the flow of the river. However, because you have a dam, there will be a new reservoir behind the dam, an artificial lake. So the area behind the dam will flood over, become an artificial lake. And guess what? You can put some machines in that dam to trigger electricity. So that's how you now use the dam, both to regulate the flow of the river and to generate electricity. So now you can sell this electricity, earn extra money, and now not only are the villages and towns not flooded anymore, but now you can regulate the flow of the river to improve the agriculture. So you have better, more prosperous farms. That will benefit the local community. And when you have the artificial lake, the reservoir, you can build a resort there where people can come. So now you turned the area where the reservoir is into a tourist attraction. So you have all these opportunities to be ahead of the overflow of the river. And by being ahead of the overflow of the river, you also generate new opportunities. Opportunity to generate electricity and sell it, to opportunity to improve the agriculture, to boost the local economy, and the opportunity to start new resorts. So what I'm saying is, by being ahead of things, you have more opportunity, better opportunities, and you can benefit of being ahead of things. Now, criminals take advantage of situations where people are neglectful, so they are ahead of things, and they gain a foothold in the community. We as believers should be the ones being ahead all the time. If people on the dark side are ahead, and they gain a foothold and a grip on the community at the expense of the same community, then why are we as believers not ahead of things on earth? Look, we cannot prevent every bad thing from happening. No, that's not possible, because till the day Jesus Christ comes back, there will be reprobates on the earth and neglectful people. Unfortunately, also neglectful believers. But we can't be ahead of things. Let's pray, decree, declare. Let's be sensitive to the Holy Spirit so we're guided by the Heavenly Father, and let's be ahead of things. We may not be able to prevent every bad thing or every tragedy, but we can be ahead of it so that when the tragedy happens, it won't cause that much harm, or because we're ahead of it, we won't even notice something bad is happening because the bad thing is canceled even before it begins. Let's be ahead of things. For example, in the parable I gave to you, what people should have done in that community, in that town, was intervening and saying, listen, the way children are being treated over there is not proper. Now, they wouldn't be able to stop all child abuse because they're not in every home to stop the parents every time things happen. They don't have the police power to do that. What they could have done is build extra, build rehabs, extra rehabs, hire more psychologists overseas, or they could start all types of projects to motivate the youth to develop their skills. They should have invested in the youth more than ever before when they realized that, A, a lot of our youth will be damaged adults soon. We need to be ahead of this. By the people not being ahead of it, by the good quality people not doing anything, they also contributed to the opportunity for that crime syndicates to take root. I'm not saying that the evildoers and those at the dark side who took advantage of the occasion are innocent. They're not. But they couldn't have succeeded without people even granting that opportunity. So my thing is, we as believers should stop granting opportunities to Satan. Stop granting opportunities to Satan. And then get upset when he takes the opportunity. You're the one granting the opportunity to Satan. So when Satan acts on it, you invited Satan, you are responsible. It doesn't mean Satan is not responsible, but hey, what else can you expect from Satan? With Satan, I don't just mean Satan himself, I also mean the fallen angels, the demonic realm, reprobate human beings, neglectful human beings, bad, evil people in the world, satanic cults, all of it. Criminal organizations too. Stop granting opportunities to Satan. Like the Bible said, don't give Satan a foothold. And that's what a lot of us do, even on an individual level. If you are involved with someone, and you notice that after you're involved with them, you end up damaged one way or the other. Let's say someone visits your house. They leave. After they leave your house, you have access in your house. A glass breaks, or your TV breaks down, or you need to call a plumber now because your toilet won't flush anymore. Or let's say every time you finish with someone on the phone, you feel a headache or for some reason. Once you know the symptoms that you're involved with someone, it's not going well, because every time you end up damaged afterwards, look, the individual doesn't have to be evil. They don't have to be a narcissist, none of that. But if they are used as a portal against you, admit it. Lower contact. They may not be evil people. They may not mean you harm, but your involvement with them is not good. In a peaceful way, lower contact with them. If they're bad and evil people, and they know what they're doing, then absolutely you avoid them. Don't even confront, don't even argue with them. We have to stop granting Satan opportunities in our lives. Well, that's it for now. Keep on committing to Christ, and I'll see you in my next live stream.